Hello, everyone, and welcome. Yes, my name is Arrowfire, and welcome back to another episode of All Talk No Shock, where I am joined by a friend of the channel, Primetime Moff from Primetime Toys. Say hello, Graham.
Oh, Graham.
Of course, you're Graham.
All Talk No Shock.
Right. So today we are going to get into the Devastator Wars of 2024. We've been here once before. It's a rush to get Devastator out. It's a rush to get Devastator out from multiple avenues, multiple third parties, when there's already a plethora of him on the market. So, Graham, latest round of Devastator Wars and who's going to win this particular round. We have coming out X-Transbots. Just see big load there, and that bloody name. We got Fans Toys, we've got MMC, we've got Moon Studios, and Dreamstar Toys. 5 companies throwing out a Devastator. Unpack that for me.
Where do you even start? Like, it always frustrates me with these, but we've talked about this on and off loads of times. There's so many other things they could do, Technobots and stuff that easily segment the market. Is it the fear that they're going to lose their place? I don't know, but I don't understand the continual desire to let's go at the same thing at the same time. And as you say, it's not the first time that we've had a Devastator war. And you've got to also remember, throwing all them in, there's the rumoured Studio Series Devastator as well. So you're, with an official, you're on 6 different choices. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
If you're a Devastator fan, you're eating well. But I think you've just hit the nail on the head in the first question, really. Is it the companies trying to secure their spot and to be the pinnacle of a Devastator, of the Constructicons? I feel, and of all the previous wars, the previous companies, previous incarnations, there's never been one de facto version. And I think this is why we got the next round of wars. I think the only thing that's come close, even though I've never owned a copy, is the Toy World Devastator, because that was the only one that said, sod it, we're going big boy style. We're going masterpiece scale, and was probably one of the first companies to go full MP scale combiner, probably for its time.
Yeah, absolutely. I just after I joined Primetime Toys in a helping role before I joined properly, one of my first jobs was Greg had a pile of stuff that was in robot mode and he wanted it transformed so we could sell it. And one of those was Toy World Devastator. And he was very good at saying, only decide to put it in a box once you're bored with it being on your desk for a little bit. I never got bored, but I got very scared every time the desk was knocked or the kids would come in the room. I was like, oh, this isn't mine. If this breaks, I'm in real trouble.
Yeah.
But it was an almighty impressive beast. A terrifying experience to transform when it's not yours. Don't you worry. You break it, you buy it.
Yeah.
But there was some really clever engineering in it. It was a marvel. It was fairly posable. I was quite impressed, from, and we'll talk about our previous experiences of third-party Devastators, but compared to what my previous experiences were, I was very impressed with how good the ratchets and things were. This is what I don't understand. If I'm sitting and I'm a business going, I'm going to compete with what's out there. Toy World Devastator is really good. It's other than Fans Toys purists, which there will be. I don't know if the other companies are going to have that same bit. How many people are going to swap Toy World Devastator for the new ones? It's a big expense that, as soon as these other ones are announced, does Toy World Devy have the same resale appeal? Does it make it hard to resell on and then move on to another one? And I don't know. I'm not convinced that it's going to be the be all and end all. I know that our pre-orders aren't as high as our kind of standard releases. We're not getting the same volume of quantity that we get for something like a parkour or something like that. So that's a poor decision. Give me the Ultra Magnus. The Ultra Magnuses get far more support than the Devastator. Two factors to that.
That's a saturated market right there. You kind of leaned into it. The fact that picking on Toy World Devastator, how many repaints of that I mean, I think I heard was there as many as 9? I can certainly think of 5. You would have G2 colors, you would have orange, you'd have battle damage, maybe a translucent, maybe a black color, and it was like, but they knew it sold, and it still sells now. So they kept pumping it out.
But they were only shown the town. That at that point, see when you're the only show in town, you milk that for all it's worth. As a business, I understand that 100%. I don't grudge that. As a business that sells toys, I don't grudge that either. I think it's difficult when it comes to this point when you've got so many options coming up. I think it'll be and one of the things that I was going to say there was the conversation we had before around Fans Toys haven't finished a full, combiner. Yeah. How does it work? And also, Devastator's a different combiner compared to theirs as well for its makeup. But there is that aspect of, are you confident in the company's ability to produce something of that scale, size, and weight that works?
Well, let me jump onto that one, because let's look at the offerings that have come out. So we got X-Transbots, who have done a combiner before. So we'll park X-Transbots for the minute. MMC as well have got 1.5 combiners completed, and they do the all-in-one feature. Now I'll quickly go on to MMC. We haven't seen one out in the wild yet, I don't think. I think it's only just pre-order for now. But they do the all-in-one, all the arms and everything are built within the figures. Fine. Why wouldn't you, if you're MMC, and why wouldn't any company, or some have, why wouldn't you start with Devastator? He's a 6-bot set. It's easier to engineer, he says, like he's created Transformer toys. I haven't. But, if you're doing an all-in-one feature, and you've got all of these things to balance, surely it's better with a 6-bot team than a 5-bot team.
Yeah, spread across 6. Yeah. I think so. I don't know. It feels like third party, and I suppose mainly does the same. It goes in waves where like X is the hottest thing, let's go for it. And we have seen that with so many different characters being done over the time. Whenever there seems to be a push, it really jumps. The Devastator one's the most interesting because we have been down that road before. It split the fandom. At the very, very beginning, my first third-party toy was a third-party Devastator. At the time, it wasn't like there was a plethora of multiple companies doing multiple things. It was like, we've got a third-party Devastator coming. Oh, yeah, we've got a second one. And it was within like such a short period of time that they just went for it. I don't know. I'm excited by it because I think I might jump on the bandwagon and get myself a Masterpiece Devastator. But I'm kind of comfortable to wait. Like I'm not convinced with any of them yet. I think I want to see what they look like, kind of in proper pictures. I want to listen to people like yourself doing reviews to kind of go where I'm at. Like I wasn't interested in your big load. That's that joke. Until you did the video, you convinced me that's a real possibility. I was like, suddenly like now I'm curious because your video was so impressive. So because I failed for this in the first time round with the first proper Devastator War. I went in the first one, which is, and I'm going to bring this my first third-party toy, and he is also missing a bit because I couldn't find it, and he's also old man. He's just going,
a bit floppy, isn't
he? So I went in on the TFC Hercules. I still love it. I think it's a great fun figure. I went with the upgrade kit and everything, but I think had I waited to the very end, when it was him versus Make Toys Giant, wasn't it? Make Toys did Giant?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I think if I'd waited, I think I'd have bought Giant. There's always a bit of me still thinks I'd like to pick up Giant because it looked nice. I thought the combined mode looked better than Hercules, but I jumped in Hercules at the very beginning. I was super excited at the idea of having an upgraded new version of Devastator that I was like, yeah, I'm all in from the beginning. And I still like it, but I think I'd like to wait to the end to see.
You've got to look at it at the eyes that you were looking at it at the time. This was new. We did not know where we are now. And just as you've said now, we got 5, maybe 6 coming our way. We got a luxury to wait because we know what's going to go, and we don't know how some of them finished combining. But like you, I've got my Devy here. Fully upgraded kit as well. Hold on the right way. Generation Toy Gravity Builder. I will actually point out, for anyone wondering, I bought these individually, and I always feel that's a fun thing to do, pick them up a bit at a time.
Agree.
But I picked them up. 3 of them are the official Generation Toy ones, and 3 of them are the NBK knockoffs, the 4th party ones. And I spoke to Ben's Collectibles, who reviewed a couple of them, and he said, honestly, there's no difference. And it got down to a bit of availability, really, to actually finish him. He looks good. He has a much more toon accurate head, if you like, because the other head's a bit boring, and he's got his massive arm drills. I do wish, though, as you said with Make Toys, I wish I got the Jim Bao oversized one, which if you get the upgrade kit for that, it's exactly the same as this, just upped a bit more. And that goes straight into the Masterpiece Combiner scale. But this was around the time of Toy War Devastator, but Generation Toy, Transformation Generation Toy, whatever you want to call them, and never want to be MP scale. They want to be that, what I refer to as Chug Plus. So whilst he looks good, you put him next to the Zeta combiners, he will come across smaller, sadly.
Yeah. I've got 3 versions of the upscale one of that. I've got the normal, this clear, and the orange, I think it is, or yellow.
Oh wow.
Can't remember. Because they were just I was buying them at the point where they were cheap, but I think I can't remember where I was getting them from, but I just found them so much fun. And I was like, these are just like stupidly good, big, fun toys.
Do you know what? And what dragged me to this, and it's something that I do very quickly want to touch on with Devastator, but I really liked their alt modes. You can just sort of see they had they weren't super clean. They had a ruggedness to them. They got like pistons and things like that I really quite liked. But saying that, I've got them combined up. And do you know what? Unlike the Fans Toys aerial bots that we talk about a lot of people say, I might not combine them, I'll keep them as individual robots because they look so good, things like that. I've never heard anyone say that when it comes to the Constructicons. I've never heard anyone say, I'm going to have 6 of them lined up around Megatron with Hauler, whatever. Yeah. Very rarely you might see a photo or 2, but generally someone buys Constructicons to make Devastator.
Maybe that's the way you do these new Constructicons, is if you're going to do 2 or 3 modes, buy alternate ones. Don't buy the same. Buy the best. Because one will have the best Devastator, one will probably have the best alt mode, and one will have the best robot mode. And I think that's your big load. The alt mode, and that's gorgeous. Like, it reminds me of a Tonka truck. It reminds me of a Tonka truck when you were a kid, a big, hefty construction vehicle. That, when the first time you showed the video, I was like, I want that, because that looks like a Tonka truck. That, like, every part of that makes me think of being a kid with a big Tonka truck and just pushing it around, and it just looks fun.
It is simple as that, big, chunky fun. Now, you've again foreshadowed my point. We've done this too many times, so you actually know where my mind's going. Okay, so let's have a look. Fans Toys. We know Fans Toys are clean, and we know the images that we've seen, which I remember saying at the last TFCon in America that when they showed some of the images of Scrapper, I think it was just Scrapper at the time. But now we've got, from what we looked at the images, Scrapper is ready to go. That's a finished model if ever I've seen one. And we got Hook, I think it is. Or is it Scavenger? No, it's Scavenger, isn't it? The crane one, which they called Right, I think. That they're the 2 figures. Again, they look very ready to go. Certainly Scrapper is, but it hasn't released on the market. They look brilliant for robot mode, although some people have said, I think it's the legs of Right are very purple to be toon accurate, but they're supposed to be the tire treads, the tank treads, which, I must admit, I'm a stickler for. If these were just purple or green, that would annoy me. You know what I mean? It's got to look like something resembling a vehicle, but I think they will make the best robot modes. But then, of course, we've got the other offering, which is Moon Studios, which it's probably still Zeta by another name. Are we still going to run down that one? Okay, we're still going Zeta. But it's okay. Zeta, Moon Studios, we know what they do. They do it well. They do the combined mode really well. We've got the two Superion, Bruticus, and Raiden's out as well under this banner. So they come out, but their alt modes and presumably their robot modes we haven't seen too much of, they look very futuristic, very Cybertronian. A Cybertronian Devastator. That could be different. That could be something new.
How do you differentiate yourself? How do you make your product appeal to somebody? You know, back in the day, it was the box art would be something that would, you know, when we were kids going into a toy shop, your toys were appealed to the masses because of the crazy artwork or whatever it may be. In this day and age, what are they doing differently that is going to make somebody go, I'm going for X over X? And I always like, and we've talked about it with companies like Transart Fans Hobby, who don't go down the norm of let's all do a Devastator. They come up with their own thing. I like when companies do something slightly differently. That big beast of a Predaking you've got doesn't look like Predaking, doesn't really appeal to me in a sense of I want it to look like Predaking, but it appeals because it just looks cool as and is different. And
it's different.
That's brave, and it's the right thing to do. Like, differentiate yourself, get that side, that bit of the market. But that's what I want to. Somebody has to be crazy enough to get these all at one time, to compare them together, to see that. And I think that will be the point where you can really get a chance to, because they're not cheap. They're not cheap. You're not just going, I'm going to buy a couple, you know. We were talking beforehand about some of the stuff I've been buying recently. I've been buying a couple of Legends because they're fun, not expensive, and I can buy them with just not having to think this needs to be my final only one. Whereas you're buying a Devastator MP scale, unless you are crazy, you're buying one and you're an idiot.
Well, where are you going to put them though? That's the thing. Like,
you're not going to buy them all. Who's buying them all? Who's got, as you say, who's got the room for 5? Like, where's that? That's taking up how many glass cabinets if you're doing your details?
Well, I mean, this is it. I can barely get this guy, who's not MP scale, into the bottom of my glass cabinet. I have to sort of cascade him down a bit, and he just about fits in. Can I get a masterpiece scale in there? No, I have to take a shelf out. Then what's the point? So, no. But you mentioned a really good point. Now, I'll quickly go back to good old reliable Toy World. You can probably, as of recording, still get that on the market for £500. It's an average secondary market price, but Fans Toys is probably going to be £1,000, maybe more when it's all said and done. And you know the others aren't going to be too far off as well.
No.
So as you say, you gotta pick wisely. I will say, when it comes to Fans Toys, look, finish a combiner first before you start getting 3 of them out before I start jumping on that bandwagon. I want to experience it. Scrapper is my favorite of the lot. I think he looks great. I'd love to have a Fans Toy Scrapper, but I feel once you're down the line, and I feel I've pinned my flag a bit too early and gone for X-Transbots, a bit like you did with Hercules.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, and let's be fair. Probably before TFN, I expect you'll have your completed Superion for Fans Toys, and you'll then be in a better position to know what are they all about. How does it work? How does it stand? How does it feel?
Is it worth it? Yeah.
Is it worth it? I'll put my cards on the table. As I say, I'm not going to say that I'm in for one until the very end, but I will be keeping at least one of our stock away for Devastator, because the last thing I'm going to do is get to the end and then go, I want Fans Toys. Oops, I've sold them all. So I will be that cautious way. That's easy for me to do in the toy business. Like, listen, I know I'm very fortunate in that position. Not everybody can do that and go, well, I'll hedge my bets. I think Fans Toys might be the way to go. You know, I think they provide such a solid bot that I think, certainly, as you say, robot wise, I think they'll have the best set of 6. But I don't know about the combined mode. because nobody knows about the combined war jet, and that's the challenge. That's the exciting bit. But it's equally, as you say, it's if you're going now and betting on it, I think that's a risky business. And as I say, I can tell you that it does not feel like it's a massive sellout. Now, what you might find is as soon as people get comfortable enough, and we're maybe 3, 4 bots in, those original bots just get snapped up and go. Our last piece of stock of the original 3 fans toys jets, which had sat around for a while, weren't really shifting. As soon as they kind of got to we're going to finish this, they went off the shelves quickly.
Yeah.
And I think that's the bit of, retailers like us will have stock sitting around, and then one day it just goes, and then as soon as that goes, the aftermarket is a son of a
brutal.
And that's a challenge. It's how do you not go too early, but equally how do you not go too late? And I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. There isn't an easy answer.
I think it generally comes down to luck, because I did that with Kang toys. I wasn't going to get them, and then I saw King Lion, I saw Razor Claw coming out with the foot, and I thought, okay, you've worked out a combined structure now. And I went back and grabbed 3 being sold on the secondary market, but people who were getting out, much like you've seen with the fans toys jets. It's pure luck. I think none of us have got that much insider knowledge, and even then, best laid plans. To this guy, I've heard so many good things that I kind of took a punt on it. But I thought to myself, it's X-Transbots, it's likely to fail, and it didn't. So now, I've got a problem because I've now got one that I quite like. Nice position to be in. But of course, there is the other dark horse or metallic horse in Dreamstar Toys. Okay, so we talk around Dreamstar Toys. They have finished their Superion. I've seen combined images. If it's not finished, it's nearing completion. And it's very much a different take. The Superion alone was 85 to 90% gunmetal, sheet metal with some highlights. And thank God it had the red chest, because it just, whilst it was a nice scale and size, it looked very unappealing. But they've dropped a listing of a Devastator. They have got Scrapper up for pre-order as well. Very rough, again in that kind of undecorated image, but in both modes, a transformable figure. Where do you stand on Dreamstar Toys? Where do you stand on potentially a non-green Devastator, completely, if it's going to be like their Superion, completely unpainted?
Doesn't appeal to me, but again, I like the idea of somebody doing something different. If you've already got a Toy World Devastator and you're really happy with it, do you need a fans toys? Is it going to do anything much different? Don't know. But you might want a more realistic feeling vehicles that you can then have Transformers. There might be that side that goes down and people go, that's actually is more like what you would see on the streets. Variety is the spice of life, and I think it is good that companies don't just do the exact same thing all the time, because it gets boring. Look, this one's only got a slight change. Its treads are 1 centimetre bigger. That doesn't excite me. The fact that there's actually kind of 4 similar ones doesn't make me desperate to see what each one's going to be. I'm just like, I want to see the end product, and I'm not excited at the journey as much. However, I am more so with Dreamstar, because I think, what are you bringing out? What is it going to look like? How's each bit going to be? I'm more curious with that than I would be with the rest of them, because I think they'll be very samey.
Yeah, I mean, you think from MMC to fans toys to X-Transbots, what are you going to be shocked by for their next release? So I think Scrapper is going to be the next one under X-Transbots. It's going to be Scrapper. We know that it has presumably combining forms in and of itself, or whether they bring in parts. So that's probably the only question. And fans always have alluded to, with any kind of parts forming or faux pieces, that any parts will come with their individual figures. But by and large, MMC will, Mixmaster is going to come out for MMC. Okay, we know what we're going to get from a G1 Mixmaster. It's just going to be MMC scale. It's going to be a bit smaller. But yeah, you get the likes of Moon Studios, Zeta, doing potentially Cybertronian versions, and Dreamstar Toys doing whatever the hell they're doing. But then it's a bit like, all right, we don't know how this goes because we haven't seen this. I think as well, as you say around variety, you hit the nail on the head, no question, by saying, why are all these companies doing the same thing? Why are they all just, they don't want to lose, they want to be in the fight to have the best of, they want to be the toy world of 2024 and beyond. But I mean, God, one of these companies could have thrown out Computron. One of these companies could have done a Monstructor. Pick ones that we just haven't.
That's a great shout. Like, that's an absolute brilliant shout. Like, why aren't we getting those? Why aren't we going down it? Because if you're only showing town for it, you're surely going to get more sales. I don't understand from a financial point of view. Is Devastator that much more popular than a Computron that a sixth of the market is better than a whole of the market? I can't see it. I just can't rationalize in my brain why that's the case. Like, is it that the designers are all just desperate? I want to do my Devastator. I think so.
I wonder if it is as vain as that. Wanting to say they cracked it, because for so long, Toy World was the big masterpiece kicking down, with a couple of exceptions. If you didn't want that size, or if you didn't want that, because at the time, of course, it was the only masterpiece scale. But now you've got those heights and what is now a standard. But yeah, as I do think Devastator is probably one of the more popular combiners. You said he's one of your favorites. I mean, I like him. I would go with Predaking, obviously, with Superion in a close second. But, if you think of combiners in Transformers, inevitably you think of Devastator. He's the one you were first introduced to, particularly for the cartoon. So that's a part of it. But you think, okay, they could sell 6 figures, make 1 figure more because it's a 6-team set, but then they got 1 more expenditure to make and shift. Is it really worth it? Would they have cleaned up more if Fans Toys, picking on Fans Toys, if they were said, we're going to do masterpiece scale Technobots and Computron Fans Toys, sign me up, because no one else is.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And it is frightening when you look around, right? So I understand the aspect of, my first masterpiece goal was to complete the 1984 bots, because if you just do all of G1, then it's an expensive hobby. So if you kind of bring it down and go, right, I'll just do 1984. Your obvious bit then is maybe do the 1985, and Devastator comes into that conversation then of what's your next bits. The first combiner, if you're going to buy your first combiner, buy Devastator. But again, 1/6 of them, or 1/5 of the market, take Toy World out and just say that Toy World's got its marketplace. On this new current bit, you're going for 1/5 of the market. Surely Computron or Seacons and masterpiece scale is 6 bots. It's got a fun bit of it. Like, that would be a really interesting to see how they pull that off. I'd love to see that. I think that'd be like a challenge for them as engineering, because the bit that I don't like about the way that Masterpiece does it, and I get it from being more the cartoon, is the joy of the original combiners out with Devastator was the Scramble City aspect of it. We talked obviously about the weight of the arms and Superior, and it's Fans Toys are not doing that. Clearly, we know that. I'd love a company to really lean into that. And if you're going to lean into it, then Seacons, instead of doing the Triple A course, Seacons would be a great example to go with, because you need that playability. And I think it could be an incredibly fun set to see somebody pull off. And it's beautiful colours, but no, let's just keep doing Devastator and let's do the same old.
Beating that horse. I feel it's. There's definitely other ones out there that you could say, like Abominus. There's there's
Ominous,
unique
yeah.
toys, and there's the one that I decided to jump on, which is TFC, which still haven't finished it. And there's no one else other than Power of the Primes. Any one of those companies that we've listed in this episode could have jumped and said, we're going to do the Terracons. Great.
Is it again back to the safe bit of, we know Devastator, we know that it's popular, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Surely, a rational brain cannot see that and go, 1/5 of the market is more, or 1/5 of a Devastator market is going to be bigger than one whole of the Computron market.
The thing is, as we said at the start, we've been here before. This is the Devastator Wars, but this is the second or third time. And I think that's where it's a little bit inexcusable, in as much as, okay, maybe it's not been claimed. Maybe Toy World's your thing, maybe it's not. But at least when it was the first wave, when Toy World was out, it was fresh, and it was a fight. And there was going to be someone emerging victorious, more or less. But whereas now, do we need to do the Devastator dance again? Could it be a there's been other Defensors, but I've said recently, I think the Defensor title, best combiner, best version of, is still yet to be claimed. So,
Agreed.
But no, we'll just go for the Devy Wars yet again. And who's going to pick up all of them? How would you ever know which one wins out? Yeah. It's going to be the one that appears on people's shelves more often than not.
Yeah. And as you said, the first time it happened with Giant versus Hercules, you also understood because it was the first real proper third-party combiner. And at that point, of course, you're going Devastator. If you're first time a third party are going to combiners, the first choice should always be Devastator. 100%. At that point, that was the right call, because Devastator is the one that probably ranks as favourite on average across the fandom. However, once Toy World hit theirs, these companies, surely they must know what the other one's doing. It doesn't fit. There's no part of me thinks that they're turning up at TFCon and going, "What are you doing? Well, we're doing Devastator. We're doing Devastator."
No. What coincidence is that? We're doing.
Yeah. So there's just so many more they could have done. But listen, this won't be the last time we'll have this conversation. It might not be about Devastator again, but Optimus Prime gets, how many Optimus Primes is there at one go? But that's Optimus Primes like that. What do we expect there to be? Something else like, Springer had a good few Springers when Springer was.
Oh, there's loads.
There's a few Masterpiece Springers come out kind of similar time frames, not quite as much as this, like this close together. And we say it's close together because it's going to take 2 or 3 years for all these to get done. So, if somebody was to come in and go, we're doing all 6 at one go, releasing it, that's a challenge. I would love that. I'd be like,
that's ballsy.
On yourself, that's the way to do it. So there will be other points. Third party will absolutely do that. Hasbro do their own thing, and we totally get that, and that's right. But the third party market variety is so much better. For me, looking at my stall at TFN, I don't want to just have Devastators on. I want to have a bit of everything. And so somebody comes in and goes, I want 5 different combiners. I don't want 5 Devastators. I want 5 different combiners. It's more fun. It's more enjoyable, but that's where we're at just now. It will be interesting to see, what if somebody else comes out with another one? If somebody else comes out and says, I've done a 6th one. The other side of it, if you've only got one option, unless it's, Toy World's Devastator was really good, to be fair. So when you're the only one in town, if you don't produce something really good, you can still do well in sales. And that's the bit where some of these companies, X-Transbots are going to Omnibots. They could have easily pulled off a Computron. They're going to Omnibots. They're doing the Throttlebots. Like they're not shy for going after not obscure characters, but later line characters. That probably is what baffles me. They're going down Ironhide, Ratchet, Devastator, when they feel like the kind of company that could have pulled off a Computron, or could have not pulled it off. I'm not going to guarantee they pulled it off, but would have went for it. Because they are doing those weirder ones.
As you just said, they would be probably the only gig in town. So by de facto, they probably would put it off. But as you rightly said, if they're going to do Omnibots, I mean, my God, who is going to do Omnibots? even in a few years. There's just not the call for it. X-Transbots are going to go, they've gone so left field with it. I tip my hat to them in a sense, but by the same token, then why are we back to Devastator? Why, if you're going to do the Omnibots, why are you?
It
worried
seems
about,
like two ends of the scale, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels, go. If you're going to go for the obscure, fine, go for the obscure, and that, if anything, makes you look at Dreamstar Toys and Zeta or Moon Studios a little bit more, because it's different, because it's something a little fresh, and think we know what the others are going to do. We know what the regulars are going to throw out. All right, wow me with something different. It's not necessarily mean it's going to work, but it as you just talking about it with you, it's just baffles the mind. Why would an X-Transbots or anyone for that matter just beat that same dead horse for a share of the money?
Yeah. I'm also in the opinion of why are fans toys doing this when they've not given me my Fort Max? Give me my Fort Max. God damn it, I want my Fort Max.
I think you're going to get a combiner first before you get a Titan.
I know.
True. I think the 5 or 6 companies that we've mentioned are running a risk of losing customers by going down this absolute tunnel. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Fans Toys have entered the race, and they haven't finished a pissing combiner yet. So, let's not count our chickens before one's hatched. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see. But I do wonder if they've gone, do you know what? If the market's too saturated, and if you've made it too saturated, you're just going to hurt your own business. Fans are going to switch off. As you said, you're much more likely to be engaged if it's a line that no one's on. Who's doing Unicron Trilogy? Fans Hobby, and maybe the odd Hasbro under Legacy.
Too many companies are scared to lean into these, and even at that, there are some aspects.
Have another green truck.
Yeah. You look at the amount of the volume of later G1, the later G1, the Euro G1, and into G2 that still hasn't been touched. That could easily be done, and having went through that journey with Simon on our YouTube channel, that I have a list of stuff I really want to experience because they just look fun. I'd love to see somebody going, let's just have fun with some toys, bring out some stuff that people are going to love.
Absolutely. I think you've really summed it up well there, just by saying the companies just won't swim away, will they? They'll stay in the circle. They like, they're familiar, and I get it. Maybe they're fans as well, like us, but it does come across as baffling. Okay, well, that's a roundup for this episode of All Talk No Shot. So this is now my opportunity to hand over to Graham. Graham, you have been on YouTube quite a bit and sharing on the likes of Facebook with PTTV. Would you like to tell everybody about it?
Yeah, I certainly would. Thanks to people like yourself, inspiring Simon and I to really kind of step up our game. We decided to relaunch and reinvigorate PTTV with a new YouTube series. So our main series is 84 to 24, 40 years of rolling out, where throughout this year on a weekly basis, we are going through each year of this franchise and the incredible 40-year span that it has. We then have additional mini-sodes. So like I do a Talking Robots, where I ask people what toy from that year they would like to experience. Then we both do kind of retro reviews. Simon focuses on Optimus Primes because he's got a lot of Optimus Primes. And the main episode is also available if you want to just listen to it. It's also available on Spotify and other podcast places. I don't know where else you get them because I only use Spotify. But yeah, it's been great fun. My wallet has not enjoyed it too much, and I am excited and terrified by TFN. My budget is bigger than it's ever been for going to TFN, but my shopping list is bigger than it's ever been. But there's so many toys that I've never experienced. I'm like, I can't wait to sit in a bar with a handful of stuff that I've never experienced and kind of sit and transform them. So it's a joyous experience, and it has absolutely led me down areas of the franchise I've never experienced, and I'm so grateful for that journey with Simon, and Simon pestered me to get on to doing YouTube, but it has been a joy. So please come and join us, share your thoughts, share on this journey and experience some of the modes. We're just about to release our 1996 episodes, which is about the wonderful Beast Wars. I'm like a giddy schoolgirl with all the extra content over the next few weeks around Beast Wars. I am so excited because I love Beast Wars. So please come and join us for those episodes. I'm expecting that I'll have comments from yourself. To be fair, you're always good at commenting on stuff and sharing stuff. So thank you so much for that. But I'm sure you'll enjoy these Beast Wars episodes as well.
No, I've been enjoying all of them, to be honest. It's been great to watch, and nice trip down memory lane. It doesn't half make you feel old when you start going through the years. Amazing, imagining how old I was in that particular year. What was I doing? Oh, good Lord. But it's cool. And I love the fact that you guys have been branching out that way. And it's going on, but it's raised your profile as well. People will not just see you as a toy store, but if they see you at conventions, they go, oh, we saw you on YouTube. And I think that's a lovely transition for you guys.
It's surreal. I got the first I got of that was at the toy fair in April, and somebody came up and said, "Are you Moff from YouTube?" And I was like, "Who's put him up to this? Who's said this? Like, no way."
Who's paid him?
And it was very complimentary, and I was like, "That's very kind." I was like, actually, when he said it, I thought, "Does he mean from Transformers the show?" From my kind of couple of times been on there. But no, I watched the channel, and it was a weird experience. You obviously have much more of that than I do, but we're very much in the start of the journey. We're still learning. We're still trying to find our feet. We're not polished. We're just two elder geeks just chatting through the years. I'm terrified about how there's been some years where we're like, how do we fill our time? Now I'm terrified of how do we keep it short, because there's some years are going to be huge. So it might be a part 2, 3, 4 during the week. I don't know, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun to go through.
And look, if you've got one person coming up to you saying, "I've really enjoyed watching it," that's it. That's all it takes. It's mattered. As soon as one person's come up, I always feel that's it. You've made it. And that's testament to your hard work. So congratulations to you guys for that. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining. Thank you, Graham, for coming on. It's been a nice topic. I think we are not done with the Devastator Wars. I'm sure another company is going to come out the woodwork and throw another green G1 Devastator out. We will see. I have gone with X-Transbots. I will be reviewing the rest of them. But who knows? Maybe I'll review some others too, because God knows there's enough to choose from. But thanks for watching. And as always, I will see you on the next one.